Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ryan here. It's Wednesday night, and it's an earlier time of 8:15 or 8:17 now. But we are live for some playoff action in the Super League. I'm absolutely delighted to say that I'm joined by the king of Cocoms, the voice of the valleys, Mr. Jamie Hopkins of the Dragons. How you doing, Jamie?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice to be the king of something after looking at that table being rock bottom.
Yeah, we're not going to dwell on it tonight because it's all playoff
No,
action. But
no,
yeah,
I don't want to be
you'll
depressed
be
either.
looking at the table for next season.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, indeed. Well, let's have a quick look at the two games that we had on Sunday. Colchester going away from home, where they've been notoriously poor, and getting the victory at Bostock Stanley. Um, I don't know, it's a relatively even game, but now Bostock have got to go to Colchester and get the win. Is that game still got some legs in it, or is that fixture all over?
No, 100% has still got some legs in it. I think no one would have expected Fulchester to go away from home and beat Bostock. So I think he's definitely going to be thinking, I can go away and do the same. So no, I think that's definitely set up lovely for the second leg.
Yeah, I think that one's within reach. Good evening to everyone in the chat. I can see that Maka, Fifey, Hodgie, Craig of Gazelles, Duggan's in the chat. Oh yeah, Mr. Edwards is here. We've got and Hodgie and Scott. Oh, we've got everyone here. Absolutely great turnout. Thanks a lot for tuning in, lads. Um, the other game, a little bit more of a gap. The Devils
Yeah,
were at home against the Gazelles and eventually ran out 4-1 winners despite a red card.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Craig and the Gazelles have got a long way back tonight, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. When obviously the game was going on, I think Devils were quite comfortable. But when you saw the red card to Montero, I thought this was a chance. If Gazelles can nick one now to make it 3-2, they'll feel confident going into the second leg. But then obviously to go 4-1 to score an extra goal, the Devils with 10 men, I think Craig will be a bit disappointed with the last kind of half an hour, but it is difficult. Everyone spoke about it when the Devils are on song with the team that they've got, especially when in Pens are in form. It's always a kind of difficult ask. But Kieran Dyer being injured, Montero out. If Craig was to nick one early, it does give him half a chance. And I think that if you look at the Devils squad, is probably the one place if he plays that formation that he's going to struggle to replace Kieran Dyer. I know he said he's got like Roy Mackay and a few other players who can do a job. He said Worthing and other people, but I don't think anyone, Stephen Reed, he's got, but I don't think he's even played him.
No,
I
he's not
don't think,
played him all season. I think
yeah,
he looks like he went with obviously Roy Mackay in a few times about looking who else he could play there.
yeah,
Uja, I think maybe the one that gets the nod tonight. I don't think he's going to play Ray Parler for some reason.
yeah, they're decent. But as I say, Kieran Dyer has been one of his standout players. So I think, you'd think he'd probably be all right tonight, but to lose Dyer for the rest of the playoffs is a massive blow.
I it is indeed. Let's go back to the league fixtures. I'm just looking at Mr. Duggan saying that you're meant to be disciplining Oliver Kahn. What you're doing on the comms. Uh, um, right, and the other game we've got tonight. So obviously no first leg. This is the first leg. Is the league winners shield Leadersford, who
Yeah.
overtook Locomotive Boston on the final day. Obviously, both these managers, we're, I think they'll both see themselves as favourites at this point, won't they?
Yeah, 100%. It's strange. I think obviously it's great to win the league, and you can always say whatever happens. After 26 games, you were top. It's strange that the winning team goes home first. I think you lose a bit of advantage, but it's strange. But I think both of them will be confident going into that. Greavesy, I think he's confident whoever he plays, the way he sets up. So should be a bit of an entertaining game. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, I thought that we're going to start with the Gazelles game versus the
Yeah,
Devils game, I think, because of how things are set up.
yeah, of course.
Um, we've got the Gazelles Heather Mills, which Craig is treating us to, and he's obviously going for. He needs a big victory, so he's gone three up top. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, it's interesting. Don't think it's something he's played all season. It doesn't, not that I can remember. But you got Cafu and Dede down the flanks, who two of the best, in their positions. He's got Raul. He needs a performance from his big players. I think his attacking players were disappointing in the first leg. So he's going to need, especially Kluivert, I feel, to have a really good game. 16 and 22 was a great return for him. I think he looked for more from Raul and Figo. I think it's maybe the centre of the park with Balak and Agahawa where he's probably his weakest. I like the kind of back six with the goalie and the two centre halves and the DMs, but I think them two, him and Agahawa in the centre midfield, are probably a bit weak when you're coming up against people like Emerson. Barry Ferguson is, probably
Yeah,
a bit of a mismatch there.
no, completely understand that. But you've got to think about. I mean, Craig had to go for it. Really, it's not like he could
Yeah, I'm glad
pull
he's
back.
yeah, he could have just kind of gone with the same formation. So it's nice to see he's tried something different, go three up top, and kind of have a go. So as I say, you know what you're getting with the Devils now. I don't see him changing this formation moving forward. Barry Ferguson on the bench. Is
Yeah,
he
so I think he did.
is he a booking away or something? I don't
I
know.
don't think so. I think it's basically part of the fact that he didn't. Ferguson would generally come in the centre of midfield. He didn't want to drop Gravison or Emerson after a good game.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You can't drop Brugink because he's in form. So it's like, where do you put him? And for me,
Yeah,
it's like you can always find space for Barry Ferguson, but obviously Fifey's not done. His main change tonight is he's dialed back the arrows.
yeah, I
So
noticed that. Yeah, so
yeah, the Emerson would have an arrow into the middle. Chul and Ronaldinho would have arrows. Obviously, he doesn't need the goals as much tonight. Just needs to get over the line. Um, Montero is replaced by Christian Kivu alongside Wes Brown, and Andre Uja, as I suspected, is coming at right wing back. Do you mean looking at this team without Montero and Dyer? Does it still pose the same amount of threat? Is it still the greatest attacking force in the Super League?
I think it's all about obviously in Bruggink's chipping in, but I think Ronaldinho's been poor this season compared to Ronaldinho that we've seen. 8 goals, four
Oh, is it?
assists. I don't think he's been great, if I'm being honest. Kewell's another one. Um, but you're right. I don't think it's the same team looking at it without Ferguson, Dyer, Montero. I think he's gone with Oya over probably Roy Mackay because, as you said, he doesn't really need the goals. He's 4-1 up, so he's probably thinking I'm going with a bit more, of a defensive-minded player. If it had been the first leg at home, maybe would have gone someone like Roy Mackay who's going to give him a bit more threat going forward. Um, but I probably would have definitely played Barry Ferguson over Gravison. I know he had a good game last time, but when I know they're 4-1 up, but at this stage of the season, for me, if your best players are there, you play them.
Yeah. So he's missing one. I think so. Basically, out of his squad, really, he's got two enforced kind of um,
Changes.
absentees, and he's deliberately left out Barry Ferguson after I think he was injured last time out. Oh no, he played last time out, so he's brought Emerson and Ferguson after Ferguson only got an 8. Well, poor Barry. Uh,
Yeah.
interesting decision. Fifey, you can just let me know who you want as captain, mate, and then I can kind of move into the game. I can move into the game screen anyway. Before I kick off, he's gone with Emerson. Let us know if you're happy with that.
Yeah.
Mr. Megahorst is suggesting that the bookies are offering a 50-1 on a Barcelona Gazelles double. Um, Mac is suggesting that Fifey needs to tighten up as he might lose. Mr. Edwards asking if there are away goals. I think the general consensus is that there are away goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would need, I think, it would need a 4-1 for this to go to extra time. Couple of, I'll get your prediction first, and I'll try and get some from the chat. What do you reckon of this one, then, mate?
And go. I think Fifield will get 2-1. I'm just not sure. I do like the front three from Gazelles, and I think they've got great on the flanks. I'm just not sure there's enough in Balak and Agahawa to control the game.
No, I understand that at all. I can understand that completely. Should I say, Craig is backing himself though. He's going for a 3-0 home victory. Rob Marshall is saying 4-0. It's Mr. Edwards going 3-0. Those three predictions have got the Shakers up 5p. Steve Wright going for a 2-1 victory for the Devils. Mr. Mega Horse going 3-2 Devils. 5p himself going that he's backing himself to lose, but both teams to score. Maka 2-0, El Champino 2-0, even El Champino, should I say. And Dimble going 3-1 as is Mr. Campbell, but in opposite directions, and Tato going 0-0. Everyone's having a thing in here. Everyone's having a prediction, which is great. Hodgie going 3-1.
You'd like to see Gazelles win in half time, maybe 1-0 or 2-0, and put the pressure on to make it a bit interesting.
Yeah, Duggan going 4-0. I'm concerned that we haven't seen Alf in the chat, and I think I put it in early enough today. It was 8:15 kickoff, and Alf's not here, and he never misses one. But
No.
there we are. Mr. Chairman going that may the best team win, and we kicked off. Let's see what happens. 12 minutes in, and not too much. I think Clive just put one wide. Uja's involved for the Devils. Agahawa coming forward. Oh,
Cafu.
And Cafu has put one in, and Rule has put a second in. Wow. It's 2-0 with 39 minutes to go. It's 3-0, and that is Luis Figo playing his first game in 3 months, Luis Figo.
Wow.
And now Fifey definitely will be fucking shaking in his boots. What
wow.
a first start. What a
wow.
start for the Devils. Where's the start? So quick look at the stats, and 5 shots, 2 on target, 7 shots to 2 off target. Passes is in Gazelle's favour, headers in Gazelle's favour. Action zones pretty split, but all the possession on Gazelle's. Have a quick look at how those 3 goals went in. Clive got 3 in the penalty area, shot high and low. Frey saved it. Ball to Cafu, who's put away the rebound. Cafu involved for the second one as well. He gets in a far post cross to Dede. It's out Raul in the area. Dede, and then Raul finished, and then it looks like it's Dede again, gets to the byline, and it's Figo there to finish. Wow. That is not the first half that Fifey really wanted, and he would not like to see a 5 from Sebastian Frey. What's happened here? What's happened?
I think you've got to applaud Gazelles more than probably. I think it is a mix of both. When you look at the way, obviously, Devils have performed with some of their ratings. Obviously, Frey, to be fair to Craig, he had one in the first leg where I think his keeper had a bit of a mare the first half. So, he knows how it feels. I think Fifey, again, he's tinkered. I know he has. I know it may only sound like a few arrows, but I just don't get why he's, Fifey's main strength is outscoring the opposition with the players he's got, especially with them pens that up front. They, that's what Fifey's strengths are, to take some of these arrows off, and again, to play, Gravison over Barry Ferguson. I just don't know whether he feels that the game was wrapped up. I don't know, but I just really think he's just, maybe tinkered a bit too much. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah, he has messed around a little bit. And for me, looking at the fitness levels of all players, all 94, 95, 96%. And I mean, there's not many passes involved there. So, yeah, it looks like, I mean, his team haven't turned up tonight, and he definitely desperately needs them to. The manager is going to bring Barry Ferguson on from a lot of calls in the chat. Thomas Gravison's the one to make way. So let's see how that impacts it. But from
playing an 8 in a 4-1 win and you dropped, I just, I don't understand that.
Yeah. Let's have a look across then, and let's give some praise to that.
100%.
Because I mean, we slagged off Fifey there. We shouldn't. Maybe it wasn't too much that Fifey's played badly, or that Gazelles have played really well. He's rolled the dice tonight, gone with 3 up top. 2 of those 3 have scored, and Capu's got a third. Clivert's playing well. Again, not too many passes. Obviously, a sign of playing maybe a little bit more direct. But do you mean no real bad performances there? Really solid at the back.
No, as I say, his main players have done the business. I say we talked about, obviously, as I said, the 2 wide boys, and I say you've got Cafu scoring and Dede getting 2 assists. said obviously that the strikers, as say Clivert hasn't scored. To be honest, I thought Clivert's name came up a bit, and he kind of should have done maybe a bit better with some of his chances. But as you say, obviously only Jeremy's playing a 6, everyone else playing a 7 or above. And yes, well, let's be honest, he couldn't have asked for anything better from that first half, could he?
Couldn't have
And
asked for much
I
better
think that
start.
the problem now is when you come obviously 5 for when you can make one change. Obviously, he's brought Barry Ferguson on, but obviously you've got Free playing a 5, and you know if that continues, he's probably likely to possibly concede a few more goals if the Gazelles carry on playing the way they are.
Yeah, the game is definitely tightly poised at this point because at this point it's Gazelles going through on away goals if it stays as it is. But obviously that means that there's no goals in the second half, which I do
Yeah,
think with the
yeah,
formations is quite unlikely.
yeah.
Scott's suggesting a 4-1. Who do you think's got the edge here? Do you think it is in Gazelles' court now?
I think it's in Gazelles' court, yeah, because I think they're playing so well. The Devils are playing, equally as poor, and they've got their keeper playing a 5. So I think at this point you would have to make Gazelles favourites, yeah.
Okay, let's kick this one off. May switch to very fast to fast to get through the half, but it looks
Oh,
like
Clivert.
Gazelles going again there, didn't it?
Yeah, Clivert, as I said, did save his keys.
Oh, Emerson hit the post though. Figo, Raul moving forward. 54 minutes gone. It's so tight. Cafu low and wide.
It's definitely a bit more from the Devils the second half. They're looking,
Oh, I think they realise they've got to score now. They've got to score.
yeah,
Let's go down. We've got 15 minutes left. Let's go down to fast. Devils hold the ball. 10 minutes to go. I mean, the Devils need to score. This is absolute disaster from Fifey. Taking it. Oh, and Arnold
oh,
Brugging, that man who was left out in the cold so early on
wow.
in the season, has 6 goals in 6 starts, and now the Gazelles need one more. They need one more goal. Figo's offside though. That's not what Craig wants to see.
No.
Devils have got hold of the ball with maybe Jeremy's. What's going on? Harry Kuehl hits the
Yeah,
bar. It's all Devils at the minute. All Devils.
it's been a very good second half.
Needs to be now for the Gazelles. It's now or never. Dede's coming forward, but Ferguson's picked it up, and that is the
Oh,
final whistle. Ooh, Jesus. Um, yeah, and they have come into it second half. After it started, Gazelles seemed to think they started the second half strongest, but then about 30
yeah,
minutes to go, it
it
was
was all
all
Devils, yeah.
Gazelles, and what a tight affair it was. Let's have a quick look at that goal in the second half. And he's got to thank Arnold Brugging, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Cafu robbed
massively.
Fuel. Brugging picked up a loose ball and hit a fierce shot, and it's gone in. Um, yeah, Sebastian Frey not doing any better, but generally the team playing a lot more touches from the Devils, and
Yeah, I thought second half they played very well. So it's surprising, still no player above a 7, which is maybe a bit surprising. But yeah, I thought the Devils did, got to give them credit. I've slagged them off first half, but they did play very well second half. This is you saw where they went the shots on goal.
yeah,
Um, I think Craig is going to be bitterly disappointed with the way he played first half, and then you look at the amount of shots they had on goal second half. The first 10 minutes it was again all Gazelles, and he thought, yeah, they're going to do this, but it just the last half an hour then was just looked like a bit of one-way traffic.
yeah, and I say after the Brugging goal, it didn't look like Gazelles were going to come back into it, did it?
No, Devils were going to score again if anything. I say, look, the bar, and they were definitely the informed team.
You've got to say unlucky to Craig, though. I mean,
Oh,
he's
he's
3-0 at
yeah,
half time. He was favourites at that point, played himself back into it. Really gave him credit for going with the kind of gung ho formation at
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
top.
The goal and probably deserved more, as you say. Look at the performance; they're just disappointing. As I say, how poor their kind of the first
Yeah,
leg was, and he just left themselves a bit much to do. I just think he's still going to be devastated at how bad they were the second half. I think although the ratings were still good, I just think they were well on top that first half, and just unfortunately for Craig, couldn't see it through. But I think he's done, to come back into it. He's done really well, and he'll be, he'll be gutted at how it's finished.
yeah, and I think he'll have a bit more confidence now for going into the new season, kind of thing. That he's got a squad that can compete.
Yeah, I think as I say, if he gets one or two who can play in that centre midfield, as I say, the back line with the wingers and everything is just in that centre midfield. If he gets one or two in there, I think he'll be right up there next season.
Well, that's what you'll want to hear. It'll be. Do you mean? It'll be what you say. It'll be little consolation though after that first
Yeah,
half performance and not getting the way through. I think he's got to rue that last 30 minutes when he was playing against 10 men in the first leg and didn't make it count.
yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
saying. If obviously he lost that 30 minutes 1-0, and even if he had just stayed 0-0, he'd be going into extra time there. So yeah, but well done, Fifey.
yeah, well done, Fifey. A lot of credit to you, mate. It's all cup finals, no Fife. It's all cup finals.
Yeah,
We're on time so far, 20 minutes in,
yeah,
and
doing
we're,
well.
we're getting down. Um, this is the Bostock Stanley. Don't write us off. So there's obviously Eto has come in for Riquelme, which I know turned a few heads in the chat earlier today. Apart from that, it's his regular players, maybe playing a little bit more attacking, a couple of extra forward arrows. Obviously,
Yeah.
Scott realising away from home, not going to go as gung ho as maybe Craig did last time out. It's a solid lineup though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is a very good team. Obviously, Joe Cole's been brought back in. Hasn't probably had the best of seasons, but obviously he played well last game, getting a goal. Eto is an interesting one, but I do feel probably offers more of a goal threat than Riquelme if you're going to play him in that AMC. If he was still playing 3 CMs, I'd probably say I would have kept Riquelme in. But Eto, he's definitely got a goal in him. I think he really needs Christian Vieri to turn up. Vieri hasn't been bad by any stretch of imagination, but for him, 8 goals in 24. I think for how good Vieri is, you're really looking for a lot more from someone of his quality. Um, but I think away from home tonight, he really needs a good game from Vieri especially.
And he needs to be solid as well, doesn't he? I think that's the thing. Maldini and
Yeah,
Nicky haven't had bad seasons at all. Andre
no,
absolutely done him a favour. He's had one bad game, I believe, Andre.
yeah,
Apart from that, I think
yeah.
he got a four, and he's still
I
averaging well above a seven
yeah.
this season. He's been, you mean,
I think his
from
back line's been very well. Lizarazu and Tudor and Milevski, very very solid in there. So yeah, I think it's just at the top
you
end
look,
now. He needs those big players.
you look at Lizarazu and maybe Tudor as potential as players of the season. Looking at the
Yeah,
stats, there, they've been really good
I
in
think he's
terms
already
of
said,
chemistry.
isn't he? When the kind of transfers were talked about midway through the season and lately, I think he's said, Tudor especially, one of the players who's, not kind of would never be for sale, which is, can understand why I always performed for him.
Yeah, so that's what Scott's got to offer as he goes to the C-suite, where Fulchester have only been meeting once all season, I believe. That's by Gazelles. Mac has
Yeah,
returned to Old Faithful 271, and he's kind of said maybe the opposite of Fifey, that he isn't really going to hold back just because he's got the lead. He's going to try and put the opposition to the sword. He's missing Nicky Butt, who's been absolutely key for him this
yeah, that
season. He's
is,
brought
yeah.
David Brutton in, maybe surprisingly ahead of McAlealy. Yeah, so what do you make of this lineup and Fulchester's season in general?
I think their season in general has been outstanding. If you look at the 11, there's not, world class. And it's got the two centre halves yet. There's Valgaran, Biscan, Okan. Vasiliuk's very good signing. I think he got him from Fifey, didn't he, halfway through the season? 6 and 11. You can't not obviously he's had a few sixes recently. But I think with the squad he's got at his disposal to be again close to going through, not only making the playoffs but going through to the next stage. He deserves massive credit. I think again he deserves credit as well for kind of saying I'm going to go for it, try and put him to the sword, because when you have got that great home record and you are 2-1 away from home, you'd be forgiven for thinking, right, we'll go a bit more solid, but he's going for it. So fair play.
Right channel.
Can you hear me, Jamie?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah,
Oh, great. I don't know what happened. I need to get some new headphones. Mine just keep dying for whatever reason.
yeah.
But
Someone was talking to me. It sounded like a robot.
sorry about that. So, and sorry to the people in the chat. And we're still good, I believe. Yeah, we're all good. But's a big miss. I can't really comment on what you just said, Jamie, but I'm sure it was very insightful. Because, um, from my kind of view, it's basically he's that if that black four there, Valgarin Yepes, Prutton Biscan, do you mean
Yeah,
Scott will be feel that isn't as strong as it could be, and he's got a chance of really really going at them. It's whether Maka can start getting amongst the goals. I mean, Giggs got back in the goals last time out after he's had a few quieter games. He's had a really solid season though. Saviola doing okay. I think Veron got the goal last time out, and he's obviously key to absolutely everything that Fulchester do. Um, yeah, it's finely poised. Maybe Fulchester going into this as slight favourites. Can I get some predictions in the chat and a prediction from yourself, Jamie?
I I fancy Bostock to win this 2-1 and take it to extra time.
Hmm. Interesting. Extra time would be, I think
Yeah,
it's, I believe, maybe not a first in the Super League. It's first in the Super League in my memory, anyway.
yeah, I think.
Um, yeah, it would be an interesting thing to see some pens tonight.
Yeah, oh
Greasy's,
yeah,
Greasy's going for a 2-0 home victory. Mr. Edwards going 2-1 Fulchester. Duggan kind of going for that dream finish and a Bostock 2-1 victory. Dudley Hilsty right win 1-1. These splinters are killing me. Dimble going 2-2 at Desmond there. Maka saying 3-2 either way. And Mr. Campbell, obviously, Viva 2-7-1. And Hodges also going with a Desmond. Let's kick this one off. Fulchester headed by Vasiliuk, Vieri and Smith heading for Bostock Stanley. 2-1 to Fulchester, but that's only half time. Milevsky picking up a booking early on.
and
Veron
cool.
striking through. It started very strong, it looks like, for Fulchester. That's what Mac would like to see, but there's been no goals as yet.
Yeah, and two
Um,
bookings for Bostock as well.
yeah, Vieri putting one over. Biscan, Saviola. Looks like both teams are creating chances, but after 32 minutes, there's no goals. That suits Fulchester.
Yeah,
It does. Bostock got to score twice, really, haven't they?
yes, yeah,
And they haven't scored any goals in the first half, and they haven't had a shot on target. Um, yeah, a lot of Desmonds in the chat, but that's not looking likely at the minute. 3 shots on target for Fulchester versus none for Bostock. That's exactly what Matt wants to see, and it's been very heavily played in the Bostock area, and it's been all possession for Fulchester.
yeah.
Not really too much to look at in the match report. I'll let you talk about Bostock first, if you don't mind. And if you were in Scott's shoes now, what would you be changing?
Yeah, it's difficult as to say. There's again the forward players not really performing it. Those come in, had a six. Um, Obviously Joe Cole, another six. I think again Joe Cole, I think has been bitterly disappointed for him. Um, I'm not sure what I do know. Obviously he needs to do something. I probably gamble and maybe someone like I'd even go Joe Pinto on for Samuel Eto'o. I think he could obviously go Raquelme, but I think Pinto probably offers you a bit more of a goal threat. Um, so yeah, I think that's what I'd be going for.
Yeah,
Just I
he's
know
not
he,
really not played Pinto much this season. The see what he's done in the reserves. He's 8-10 in the reserves, so he can find the back of the net.
yeah,
But it doesn't look like that's what Scott's going to go with. He's just going more for a relatively straight swap and bringing Riquelme on for Joe Cole, who's also on a booking as well. So maybe sensible to try and keep 11 players
yeah,
on the
it is
pitch.
difficult. Obviously, he needs those decisions. As to say, when you've got a few of your forward players playing weak and you can only make one sub, it is difficult. But you are right, Joe Cole on on a booking. If you go down to 10, you're probably going to say that's the end of it. So yeah, it's probably a sensible move.
Yeah, and as Mr. Campbell is suggesting in the comments, he needs an early goal to kind of get this going. Where's
No.
my headphones gone? There we go. Um, Right, let's have a quick look at Fulchester, and kind of as you'd expected, a lot of passing around the defensive area. Valgarin and Prutton heavily involved. Prutton an 8 so far. Giggs playing really solid as well. Not too many touches for Vasiliuk or Saviola, but as long as he keeps a clean sheet, Maka won't be too worried about that.
Yeah,
Um,
say you've got to concede. He's got to concede two, isn't he? Not just one. So I think Mac is going to feel comfortable now going into 45 minutes left. David Prutton, who I'm a big fan of, I think he's a very good player. So yeah, I think Macca's going to be extremely happy with that at half time.
He's actually made a brave substitution. He may be an attacking substitution. Michael Owen is coming on for Yaz Tav. Yeah, it's interesting. He's got people like Paul Scholes on the bench, maybe better suited
Yeah,
to attacking midfield.
yeah, I thought he
Yeah,
would have gone to Schools as well.
but you mean Michael Owen has started to he started to kind of call for a starting spot recently. He got a couple of goals. He might have had a five in there, but he's had an ace as well.
Yeah.
It's still not the Michael Owen you'd kind of expect given his stats, but
No, it's not. No. But yeah, I think Bostock's going to need an early. They haven't had a shot on target yet, so to score two in his second half will be quite a turnaround for them, won't it?
yeah. I'm gonna click restart match and play on very fast unless we get a Bostock goal,
Yeah.
and then I might go down to fast. Giggs involved early on, as was Zidane, and there's
Oh,
Roland is
oh
still,
no.
or he isn't offside. Not what McAvoy wants to see, and Maldini going off injured. I'm just going to assume this is a straight spot for Phil
Yes.
Neville. Um,
Yeah, it's not going to be anything else, is it? I couldn't imagine so. Anyway.
no, I mean Scott, you've got 5 seconds to correct me if I'm wrong. 4, 3, GNF, yeah, well, good. Let's continue, and with 77 minutes gone, and it's still 0-0. Maybe not the spectacle we were hoping for, but yeah, I keep saying this, but Maka won't be too bothered about that. 90 minutes gone. Let's
No,
just get
he's
the
not going to be
time.
asked, is he? I think he's done the job. Yeah.
Yeah, um, that's it. That's it. The 49,976 people crammed into the C suite, and Boyd McGregor, the referee, of a 0-0. And I mean, it's the defensive line of Fulchester
Yeah.
who've suffocated the Bostock attack and not gave them a single shot on target. Um,
Yeah.
got to say well into Maka. Um,
Massive. Well done. Yeah.
dominated the game without turning the screw too much. Really, I don't think there's too much. Didn't know if you spotted anything in the report, but I don't think there's too much.
No, it
Let's
was.
talk about the winner first, and it's been a good performance again from top performer Hugh Spalgarin. Well done to Maka.
Yeah, I think again, I've said he deserves massive credit for the job he's done. I think that defensive lineup, although on paper they may not sound like superstars, Biscan does a great job. I am a big fan of David Prutton, and as you say, yeah, as and Bulgarian have done great jobs all season. So he's not free flowing going forward. I don't think Veron has probably been as good as he has been in previous versions. But I think it's definitely that back line which has kind of got him over the line. But he deserves massive credit for the job he's done this season, and he's going to be confident now going in. I'd suggest he's going to be more confident than Fifey, to be honest.
Well, it's the battle of the pessimists, isn't it? Um, both managers love playing the chances down and saying that the opposition will have them. So,
Yeah,
if we see who
but
can
in
do,
in fairness, you can see kind of why Maka plays himself down at times with the squad that he's got compared to others. But I think he's done so well the time. He knows what he's doing. He's a bit like Mourinho, and he's the master of the mind games.
he loves it. He loves it. He
But
does.
Bostock are going to be extremely disappointed. They've came in such good form, kind of going into the playoffs, scoring goals. But to not have a shot on target in that game is disappointing. The forward players just haven't turned up. So yeah, they're going to be extremely disappointed with how the season's ended for them. Especially when we had our chat last Friday, I think they were quite fancied by a lot of teams. So he's going to be a bit disappointed with how it's ended.
Yeah, and thank you for talking through why I seamlessly skipped ahead a day.
Yeah.
Honestly, you are the king of co-coms. um, yes, so we've got the first leg of the major semi-final between Leadersford and Locomotive Boston. Um, this season, we've had a 2-0 Locomotive win at home and a 1-1 Leadersford 1-1 draw at Leadersford. Goals from Inzaghi, Elba, and 2 from Ricardinho. In that game, though, we did see the 3 red cards. I don't even remember that one, which was
Yeah, I
pretty
remember that. It's
incredible.
crazy.
Um, Tonight we've got Leathersford at home. So this is the Locomotive who, after being top for so much of the season, finished second. Let's see what they've gone with tonight. And what do you make of this lineup, mate?
Yeah, you see, he tends to change it about a bit. Obviously, he's got Inzaghi on the bench today. Elba started. I think Elba's, from what I remember, started a lot recently. But obviously, he's mixed it up again tonight. You know, I don't think. I think, to be honest, he's one of the managers you could never second guess. It's always kind of similar, but he always change. You know, he'd go one up top, two AMCs and things. So I think it's a bit more defensive, I think, than maybe what he normally plays. Obviously, he's got the kind of back six and then Deco in the midfield, who again is a more defensive-minded player. But I think he's obviously been worried about Leathersford's goal scorers. You know, they've been great going forward, Leathersford. So I think Boston probably been a bit cautious. But I say Alba there, he's not done a lot recently, so surprised he's come back in instead of Inzaghi. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, he's kind of gone off Inzaghi recently. He's dropped him out of the squad completely. I don't think he's been playing that bad. He got 1-6 after a couple of
Yeah,
eights.
5 and
Five
13 is not
five
that
and
bad.
13 after coming in from Leathersford. Maybe he didn't want to play him against his old club.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
I don't know, but I sometimes think that they have more ammunition when they go up against
yeah,
the club.
yeah. Well, it's not as if the other strikers have been in great form either. Either. So, um,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
Amoroso is one of my favourite players, but he's had 4 sixes on the bounce.
yeah. I agree. He's one of mine as well. I'm a big fan. But yeah, 8 in 24 compared to 5 in 13. This, yeah, seems a bit strange that Inzaghi's not at least on the bench.
Does indeed. He's gone with Franca on there. He's just got 1-6. Tahir Kaladze, who's been in and out of the team, starts tonight, as does Carson Ramelow, who's only 6 starts. Been really solid at the back, and he's definitely favourite partnership is Cannavaro and Lowson. He does
Yeah,
have TMA Clompe, but he's not really had much of a look in this season, only when Lowson's been injured, I believe.
yeah.
It's a really solid lineup, and
It is.
yeah,
Yeah,
the one thing you've got to give credit to is taking that roll of the
Ricardinho.
dice with Ricardinho, bringing him into
Yeah,
the reserves, and he's
yeah. 9 and
probably
18. That's outstanding.
yeah, and he's probably got to say maybe one of his players of the season.
Yeah,
Um, in contrast to kind of how Locomotive have been kind of winning and hard to beat all season, have had kind of an up and down season. Really, they was outside the playoffs, then went on this absolutely incredible
rampaging run.
run,
Yeah,
which basically started on the 2nd of February, and I think they're unbeaten since. Only 1-1 draw with Bostock in there, and they won every other game. Now, the big change in that game, I think I've been over this a few times, was that they went from one up top, Fernando Morientes, and then the following game, um, they went two up top, which were Montella and Torres, and that's how it's stayed ever since, really. Only
yeah,
difference being is after the Torres hat trick, I believe he got injured, and Rodriguez
yeah.
come in. Missing a couple of defensive midfielders tonight,
Yeah,
and
Vogel's big miss. Simeone's played well as well, but I think Vogel is a very big miss. And obviously Torres, we know 8 and 8. I think that was definitely when the upturn started. So yeah, as you say, both of them are massive risks. Obviously he's got John Arisa in there. Um, not a patch on Vogel. So um, interesting. Obviously, he's gone with Keane over Morientes. Obviously, Robbie Keane can be so hit and miss. As I say, they're going to play a six, so he'll score a hat trick for you. But yeah, might have gone Morientes over Keane, but it's good
yeah,
options. But I think obviously Torres missing. 5 and 9. I think that's pretty strong from Morientes, but I think it's more the Vogel and Simeone that he'll miss more than probably Torres in this game.
yeah, so this is John Arisa's debut. He does play defensive midfield
Feeling a bit
six, kind
left.
of,
Yeah.
and he's not terrible, but
No,
yeah,
he's not.
I agree.
Doesn't look bad,
He's
but
not Johan
Vogel
Vogel,
is
is
one
he?
of the strongest. Yeah,
He could have potentially dropped Pat Saxoglu back into defensive midfield, and
yeah,
I believe has he got Kutuzov? Yeah, he's got
yeah.
Kutuzov, who's not
Kutuzov.
played too much, but I mean, he's definitely someone who can sit in the attacking midfield or centre midfield.
Yeah,
But you mean like I understand why Hodges gone with this lineup. He's gone with the players that have served him well, and he's
yeah,
just basically he's gone for a like replacement, getting Risa in there. not wanting to
Yeah.
tinker too much, which I completely
No,
get.
when you're on that run, I just think you stick with what you're doing best. So I think it's say the injuries will obviously this the suspension of Vogue, but is it only one game? Will he be back for the second leg? More than likely.
Um, yeah, the suspension just one game.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
won't click on the injuries just in case Hodgie wants
yeah,
to keep it secret for
yeah,
whatever reason.
yeah.
Next is captain, as I've not heard anything back. This is our kind of grand finale of the night, and we're on time, 15 minutes to go. I'm glad to see. Um, Leathersford versus Locomotive, the first versus second in the league. Can we have some predictions, please?
I'm gonna go for Leathersford to nick it 2-1.
Leathersford 2-1. That means that you're going to expect goals from Robbie Keane and Montella, or do you mean are they going to be strong enough going forward without Torres? It does look like if you look into the chat though, a lot of people are with you with the home victory. Megahar, Stimble, and Edwards all going for a home victory by 1 goal, as is El Champino. A couple of draws coming in from Maka, Fife, Steve Wright, and Tato Mourinho. Mr. Campbell going for a 3-1. Rob Marshall also going for a 2-1. Evening Rob, I didn't spot you before. It's an interesting game. I mean, the thing I'm looking from the chat is that not no one's backing 4 or 5 goals in this game. Everyone's thinking it's going to be relatively tight. Maybe because that's it is Locomotive, and they've been one of
Yeah.
the tightest defences. Duggan and Ghost are going 1-1. Let's kick this one off and see what we have. Oh, and we're also hitting the bottom of the post. It looks like we had a lot of pink early on. No goals in the first 10 minutes.
Coming back into
Don't
it
know how
now,
that
and they
was.
Leathersford.
Yeah, definitely. Valadenko, Montella, Lee Chun-Soo's fouled. Lee Chun-Soo's an interesting pick.
Yeah,
He's been in there for quite a while.
yeah, he's done a good
Otto
job.
again getting involved. Um,
Montella.
Youssef Hersey, another one of them. Oh, penalty not given. We'll have a look at that one at
Oh,
half time. And looks like we are approaching a 0-0 half.
yeah,
And then there's no surprises from absolutely anyone.
no,
Um, Leathersford on top. Locomotive firing accuracy down at 0% of shots.
yeah,
Um, Relatively tight as we expect it to be. Really. Let's look at I mean, nothing too much there. Action zones potentially Leicester on top, as you can see a
yeah.
bit more in there, a bit more possession. Let's have a look at the match report just to see, was it a penalty turned down?
Penalty turned down. Yeah. Oh, it'd be a Decor Badgery sit in the back. The referee turned down the penalty appeal.
Ooh, that would be interesting. One of John Andrews
Yeah,
on a penalty. Obviously, Olivier de Cole went the opposite direction, I think, from Leathersford to Locomotive. Let's have a
yeah,
look at Leathersford's first half. Considering kind of how they were in top in the action zones and the possession they've had, I expected to see some higher numbers in the passing section, but
yeah,
that's not been so far. Relatively
yeah.
tight still. Um,
Lee Chun-Soo with only 6 in that AMC is probably going to be a bit disappointing for Hodge. You wanted him to get on the ball and make things happen. Be interesting, what he does half time. If he'll make a sub, will he keep kind of just stay as it is? I think he's been slightly the better team. I think it looked in the commentary that it was more Leathersford. But yeah, he's going to want to try and get that breakthrough and take some kind of advantage into the second leg. So I think he's the one that's got to force the issue now.
well, he's making an attacking substitution, and it's Exaberia coming on for Volodenkov, who was on a 6. Exaberia,
Yeah,
obviously forward, right, and centre, but we know from Super League history that
previous, yeah.
he can play in more defensive
It's
roles,
probably
and
been his best position. I've seen him in the Super League on that right hand side, so it's not a bad change.
yeah,
He'll
I think the main
definitely
thing
offer more.
yeah, his positioning's good, and he's fast,
Yeah,
and he's brave, and he works hard, and he runs all day. So I understand that completely.
yeah, exactly.
They'll definitely need more from Montella and probably Chance too if they're going to
Yeah,
make a breakthrough though. Locomotive, they haven't done much at all
no,
really, and
Partey's having another great game.
yeah, and he always seems to turn up when he needs to. But
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see if I mean I can't see Greavesy wanting to change it. He might look at that 89 fitness from Ricardinho and think maybe he'd do a swap
yeah.
there. We've got
I'd
Ethenberg.
probably bring Franker on for El, but I personally, 4 touches playing a six. He hasn't been in great form either, Elba. That's probably what I would do. But I think Greaves is going to be happy. He's probably thinking, I can keep this 0-0, and I'll take him back to our place and turn him over in the second leg.
Yeah, I know we're all about bigging up the Super League and all that, but it's been a real poor first half.
Yeah, it's been. I never quite understood the obviously them two playing over Inzaghi. Obviously, and again, Amoroso, great player. Elba does score, but the form they've been, I thought was a bit strange. But Greaves, he's not going to be bothered. He'll happily take away 0-0 from this, and he won't give it a second look. No matter how bad his players play, if he can get a 0-0 here, he's not going to care. But I do think you want to be trying to take an away goal into the second leg.
Yeah, that's the one thing about playing for a draw and playing for a
Yeah,
0-0. But
yeah,
that's why the away goals rule was brought in,
yeah,
wasn't it? To
yeah,
make teams go
exactly.
for it.
But yeah, it's
Let's
a big
kick it off.
second half.
It's a huge second half, so let's kick it off and see what happens. Try not to go on on fast too early because I know how much Haji hates it. A lot of yellow early on though. The
Yeah,
time just seems to
Keane.
be going pretty quickly. Be
Yeah.
interesting to see who you think would be happier with a 0-0. 20 minutes to go. It looks like if anyone's going to score, it's going to be Leddersford. 90 minutes gone. Sarachinsky on the line to stop a locomotive one, and uh,
Yeah, I
uh,
this game, I think it was always had the potential to be a bit of a damp squid dinner. Let's be honest. I think the talk on Friday when we all said, which one of the games are going to be the most exciting. I think with the way Boston are, I think they've even set up a bit more defensive than what they maybe normally do anyway. Kind of having to core in that kind of MC, but being a DMC more defensive minded. Um, it is really difficult to kind of ascertain who will be happier with this because Boston haven't got the away goal, but they're so good at home and grinding out 1-0s. Hodgie's going to be thinking, again, he's got Vogel back, will be a massive kind of boost to them. But again, if if Torres isn't back, him and Montella, Montella hasn't been great, possible, as good without Torres. So I really don't know who would be. I'd probably say Greaves, he would probably be happier because he'd be confident that he can nick a 1-0 at home.
yeah, it is part of the bus, part of the bus
Yeah,
narrative. Martin saying that Jose Greavesinho.
yeah,
Um, he's done a job, hasn't he? He's gone there not to
yeah,
concede, and
massively.
he's not conceded against a team which have been free scoring recently. Um,
Yeah, as I say, Greaves, he won't, we look at those ratings, the sixes and sevens, and he won't be bothered at all. He set his team up to be difficult to beat, and they have done it, so he's going to be delighted. Barthez again in fine form, which he's been for most of the season.
yep. Dimble saying they get practicing your penalties for next week, Hadji. That is a good point. Because we're in for another 0-0.
Yeah, true.
It's not what you expect though from not what you expect from Leddersford at all. Um,
No,
really, but Barthez man of the match. Sarachinsky got in the line at the end to kind of stop Lokomotiv from nicking it. Yeah, no, it's not a bad performance if you look at the Leddersford team. Hanjog but not been involved. John Anarisa, nah, he'll probably be dropped out after that six again now
yeah.
at that time.
The facts are
Kevin,
from the attacking players on both teams, there hasn't been one person who's played above a seven, so it kind of going to tell you all you need to know about the quality of the game in the forward areas. But I think Hodgie's going to be most disappointed because I think Greaves he's kind of set up for that, but Hodgie would have been wanting to take something into the second leg. So I think he'll definitely be the most disappointed.
indeed,
But
indeed.
again, if he's only got, if he can score a one away, Boston aren't free for a win. So he'll be thinking, if I can score one, that means Boston have got to score two, which is not something they, do regularly. So he's finely
Yeah,
poised that one, shall we say.
it is. So just kind of thing, I think the plan is for all you Super League fans, 16 of you still here. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Um, I kind of maybe hinted to a few of the managers in the chat that we may try and put a show in on this Friday, the
Yeah.
12th.
Yeah.
which would be the Locomotive versus Leathersford game, and it will be the one-off spectacular that is Devils versus Colchester,
Yeah.
which I believe because what do you call it? Because the Devils finished higher in the table, they will yeah, they will finish. It's these two games. It'll be on the Friday of that game, so that game will be first. Because Devils finish higher in the table, they will be at home, and then it'll be the winner of that game will take on the loser of the Locomotive versus Leathersford second leg in the preliminary final, and then we've got the grand final on the 4th of May, and we are down to four teams. Fifth place Colchester, third place Devils, and obviously we've still got first and second Leathersford and Locomotive. Um, who's favourite, Jamie?
I'm gonna stick with Devils. I know they've probably got away with one tonight, but I think they've got the firepower. If he sticks to probably his strongest 11, I'm gonna just back the Devils. You said they're home as well, and which makes a big difference. I think if Matt, it's just one off leg, you said, yeah.
You should just be a one-off, and
Yeah, looking at the
Martin probably
fixtures,
knows this better than me.
it
Yeah,
looked like
it's a
what I said.
one-off, and there's no
Yeah,
playing at the Australian National Stadium. It's basically if you finished higher in the table, you end up
yes,
at home.
yeah. I think if
So, but
Matt had been home, it's a different ball game. I think Fifey at home, if he plays his best team, I'd say just favourites, and I think slightly favourites for me overall as well.
fair enough. I think we kind of saw a little glimpse that Barry Ferguson might have picked up a knock. Obviously,
Yeah,
patched will be out as soon as, which hopefully won't be too serious. We've got a week before the game, so hopefully it's just a dead leg or something like that, and
yeah,
we'll be over it. Um, I'm aware that you've got work,
it's fine.
Jamie. So I'd like to thank absolutely everyone for joining us in the chat, and thank you so much for joining us, Jamie.
No
Uh,
worries.
I know it's been brief. Got three games done in an hour.
Yeah,
Stuck to the
yeah, not bad.
stuck to the thing, which is good. Um, yeah, I don't think there was anything changed at the top of the stat tables or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just going to thank everyone, and I'll call it a night there. Thanks a lot, lads.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers. Ta-ra.
Cheers. Bye.